Exercise and lifting weights has always been a huge part of my life. I spend a lot of time at the gym. I really enjoy it because it helps me focus myself. I played at Nevada from 1992 to 1996. After my senior season, I got a chance to try out for New England as a specialty player, a long snapper. So I played a few games with them for a couple seasons. And then after the 1998 season, I got cut, and that was kind of the end of my career. No one invited me after that, and so I kind of moved on with my life. I became a teacher, I got married, had a couple daughters, went to graduate school, and then the week after I got my degree, I came down with Crohn's disease. I was devastated, and so I shut down. I shut down emotionally. I was in a lot of pain, and so I started taking pain medication because I needed it. Unfortunately for me, as I'm taking the pain medication for pain, it started doing something else for me, which was numbing my emotions that I wasn't dealing with. I didn't know how to deal with them. Swimming with my daughter at her 8th birthday about a year later, and I ended up breaking my hip and was told I needed a total hip replacement, which meant I needed to be back on pain medication. So during this, I became more and more reliant upon pain medication, and then my marriage started to disintegrate. I got divorced, and now I'm looking at losing my family. And so within those 3 years, there were 3 things that I was absolutely devastated from. When I realized that I was getting divorced, the amount of guilt and shame that I had was too much for me to handle. And so my solution was to continue to use pain medications and start to abuse them. Because I hated myself, because I wasn't dealing with anything. I wasn't dealing with any of the stages of devastation that I went through. I was so broken that I got introduced to heroin and methamphetamine as a way of coping with my addiction. In 2014, I got in trouble with the law. I started stealing for drugs. I was at my bottom. September 2017 was the day I woke up and said, I can't do this anymore. And I turned myself in, fully ready to go to prison. That was difficult for 7 months, calling your kids, trying to tell them that dad's gonna be okay, even though I'm gonna miss your high school graduation. And that was hard. It made me become willing to do whatever I needed to try and fix my life. And the judge decided to give me another opportunity. And that's where I had asked to go to the Reno Sparks Gospel Mission. And so when I showed up at the front door of the Gospel Mission, I was fully willing to do everything and anything that they asked of me because I didn't have any more answers. They accepted me and they loved me. They kind of showed me what I ended up later on learning about the Bible, which was just acceptance and love. And so they loved on me until I could start to love myself. So one Friday after work, we were eating dinner and there was a gal that would come in and shake everyone's hand and introduce herself. And after she did that at the table I was at, I had asked the other guys, who is that? And they had kind of explained that she was there to pray for men. And so I watched her come in for maybe 3 or 4 Fridays until I got the nerve to put my name on the list. And I went in, I met her, and I told her I wanted to pray about my daughters. I wanted them to be okay. And I had to start to be the man that they needed, the father they needed in their life. And that was a huge awakening for me. And so I got baptized, asked the Lord into my life. And from that day forward, the next 15 months, I went to every Bible study, I went to every class, I went to every chapel, because it helped me start to deal with the things in my life that I was really ashamed of. Being a bad dad, being an addict, right? Being a felon. And in that is where I found complete healing. The guilt and shame went away because what it did is it showed me that Jesus loved me exactly the way that I am. So I started coming to Grace and I absolutely fell in love. I felt like I was at home and saw that Grace really had a spot in its heart for people just like me, right? In recovery, struggling with life. I started coming every Sunday, started getting involved, and then I had some more tragedy in my life. My mom passed away from cancer, and my 2 daughters were struggling, and so I invited them to church one Sunday, and they started hearing the message and the tug that we have on our heart from Jesus, and so both my daughters got baptized, and so we've been coming ever since. You know, when I look back in my life and see what Jesus has done for me, is I now recognize that his hand was on my life the whole time. I needed to get to a place where there was less of me and more of Jesus, and it was through him, only through him, could I actually find what I was looking for the entire time, which was peace, joy, and love.